Hi everyone. Now let's discuss topic 11 of Unit 4, Audit Criteria and Controls. Audit criteria are the set of policies, procedures, or standards against which the evidence collected during an audit is compared. They act as a benchmark to evaluate whether an organization is compliant with security requirements. Controls in security auditing are the safeguards or countermeasures put in place to protect systems and data. They help reduce risks, detect issues, and ensure corrective action when security weaknesses are found. In simple words, audit criteria are like the rules, and controls are the protective measures that organizations follow to keep their IT systems safe. 2 mark questions. Define audit criteria. What are controls in security auditing? Name 2 types of audit controls. Mention 2 common audit criteria standards. Why are controls important in security audits? 5 10-mark questions. Explain the importance of audit criteria in security auditing. Describe preventive, detective, and corrective controls with examples. Discuss how audit criteria and controls help in regulatory compliance. Explain the role of controls in risk mitigation during audits. Illustrate with an example how audit criteria and controls are applied in a corporate IT environment. Introduction to audit criteria and controls. In the context of security auditing, audit criteria and controls form the foundation of how audits are conducted. They ensure that evaluations are systematic, objective, and effective in identifying security gaps and compliance issues. Audit criteria. These are the standards, policies, or benchmarks against which systems and processes are measured. Criteria provide a reference point to determine whether security measures are adequate and compliant. Example: a company may use ISO 27001, 2013 standards as audit criteria to evaluate if their information security practices meet international benchmarks. Similarly, internal policies or government regulations can also serve as criteria. Controls. Controls are the mechanisms or safeguards implemented to achieve security objectives and mitigate risks. They are evaluated during audits to check if they are effective in protecting assets and data. Controls are often categorized as preventive controls, designed to stop security incidents before they occur. Example: firewalls, strong password policies, multi-factor authentication. Detective controls, designed to identify and alert about security incidents. Example: intrusion detection systems, IDS. Audit logs, security monitoring. Corrective controls, designed to fix or mitigate issues after an incident occurs. Example: backup and restore systems, patch management, incident response procedures. Practical example: during a financial system audit. Audit criteria. ISO 27001 standards for access control and data protection. Controls evaluated: firewall configurations, user access permissions, encryption of sensitive transactions, and monitoring of suspicious activities. By combining audit criteria and controls, auditors can systematically assess whether security measures are adequate, risks are mitigated, and the organization complies with legal or regulatory requirements. Audit criteria. Definition. Audit criteria are the predefined standards, policies, or regulations used to evaluate an organization's systems, processes, and security practices during an audit. They serve as a reference point to determine whether the organization is compliant and secure. Purpose. The main purpose of audit criteria is to provide a baseline for evaluating systems and processes, ensure consistency in audits across departments or organizations, support legal, regulatory, and organizational compliance, help auditors make objective, justifiable conclusions. Common audit criteria. ISO 27001, an international standard for information security management. It defines requirements for establishing, implementing, maintaining, and improving an information security management system, ISMS. Organizational policies, internal rules and guidelines, such as password policies, access control rules, and acceptable use policies. Legal regulatory requirements, laws and standards such as HIPAA, healthcare data protection, GDPR, personal data privacy, or PCI DSS, payment card security. Example: if auditors are reviewing password management practices, they might check whether passwords meet ISO 27001 complexity requirements. Whether the organization's internal policy enforces regular password changes. Whether practices comply with any legal requirements, like GDPR for protecting personal data. By using audit criteria, auditors can measure performance objectively, identify gaps, and recommend improvements. Types of controls. Definition. Controls are mechanisms, safeguards, or procedures implemented to reduce risks, ensure compliance with audit criteria, and protect organizational assets. They help in preventing, detecting, and correcting security issues. Controls are typically classified into three main categories. Preventive controls. Purpose. Preventive controls are designed to stop security incidents before they happen. They act as the first line of defense against potential threats. Examples: firewalls and antivirus software block unauthorized access and prevent malware from entering the system. Strong authentication and access controls ensure only authorized users can access sensitive data. Employee training educates staff about phishing, password security, and safe data handling practices. Example scenario: a company enforces multi-factor authentication, MFA, for all employee logins. This prevents unauthorized users from accessing systems, even if passwords are stolen. B. Detective controls. Purpose. Detective controls are implemented to identify and detect incidents after they occur. They help in monitoring systems to catch suspicious activity. Examples: intrusion detection systems, IDS, alert security teams when unauthorized access attempts are detected. System and network monitoring logs track activity and identify abnormal behavior. Audit trails record user actions on critical systems for review. Example scenario: an IDS detects unusual login attempts from an unknown IP address and sends an alert to the IT security team, allowing them to investigate before damage occurs. C. Corrective controls. Purpose. Corrective controls are intended to fix, mitigate, or recover from security incidents. They reduce the impact and restore normal operations. Examples: backup and restore mechanisms recover lost or corrupted data after a ransomware attack. Patch management fix vulnerabilities in software or systems that could be exploited. Incident response procedures steps to contain and remediate security breaches. Example scenario: a company detects malware on a server. Using backup restores, they recover the affected files, apply security patches, and follow the incident response plan to prevent recurrence. Importance of audit criteria and controls. Definition: audit criteria and controls are essential components of a security audit. Audit criteria provide the standards or benchmarks against which systems and processes are assessed, while controls are the measures implemented to achieve security objectives. Together, they ensure that audits are systematic, objective, and reliable. Key reasons for their importance: ensures standardized and objective evaluation. Audit criteria provide a clear reference point, so auditors assess systems consistently rather than subjectively. Controls ensure that there are measurable safeguards in place to compare against these criteria. Example: a company follows ISO 27001 standards for password management. During an audit, the auditor checks if password policies, complexity, and expiration rules comply with the standard, helps identify gaps, vulnerabilities, and noncompliance. By comparing existing controls against audit criteria, organizations can detect weaknesses or areas where security policies are not followed. Example: during a network audit, an auditor finds that some servers allow default passwords. This gap is identified because the audit criteria require strong password enforcement, supports risk management and decision-making. Audit findings based on criteria and controls help management understand risks, prioritize remediation efforts, and make informed decisions about security investments. Example: if an audit reveals that critical servers lack intrusion detection systems, management can prioritize installing IDS as a preventive control to reduce risk, provides evidence for regulatory compliance and legal defense. Proper application of audit criteria and controls creates documentation proving compliance with standards and regulations. This evidence can be crucial during inspections, audits, or legal proceedings. Example, if a company is investigated for a data breach, auditors can show that access logs were monitored and security controls were implemented according to HIPAA standards. This helps demonstrate due diligence. Best practices for audit criteria and controls. 1. Align audit criteria with organizational goals and regulations. Audit criteria should match the organization's business objectives and comply with relevant laws or industry standards. This ensures that audits are meaningful and legally defensible. Example, a bank sets audit criteria based on PCI DSS to protect credit card information. A hospital aligns criteria with HIPAA to ensure patient data confidentiality. 2. Regularly review and update controls. Security threats constantly evolve, so controls must be updated to address new vulnerabilities. Regular reviews help maintain effectiveness. Example, updating firewall rules to block newly discovered malware IP addresses. Upgrading antivirus software to detect recent ransomware variants. 3. Document the effectiveness of controls. Auditors should record whether controls are functioning as intended. This documentation supports accountability and provides evidence for compliance. Example, maintaining logs showing that multi-factor authentication successfully prevented unauthorized access attempts. Recording results of backup tests to confirm data recovery capability. 4. Apply a risk-based approach. Focus audit efforts on high-risk areas that could have the greatest impact if compromised. This ensures efficient use of resources. Example, prioritizing the audit of financial databases or HR systems containing sensitive personal data over low-risk systems like public information servers. 5. Ensure auditors understand both technical and regulatory requirements. Auditors need knowledge of IT systems, as well as legal and regulatory standards, to effectively evaluate controls and criteria. Example, an auditor checking compliance with ISO 27001 must understand network configurations, access control mechanisms, and documentation requirements. For HIPAA audits, auditors must know patient privacy regulations and how technical safeguards are applied. Real-world examples. Financial sector, audit criteria, PCI DSS compliance. Controls, preventive, data encryption, strong password policies. Detective, transaction monitoring, fraud alerts. Healthcare, audit criteria, HIPAA compliance. Controls, access restrictions for patient records. Audit logs of data access. Incident reporting procedures. Corporate IT, audit criteria, ISO 27001 compliance. Controls, password policies and account lockouts. Backup and disaster recovery systems. Network monitoring to detect unauthorized access. Thank you. Please like, share, and subscribe.